Hi ladies, today we are going to talk about what is lyric poetry. I'm going to take you through what is the definition and then the different types of lyric poetry with some examples like we talked about in class. So lyric poetry is defined by simply the characteristic that it expresses emotion. If a poem is not a narrative, which is a poem that tells a story, or a drama or a dramatic poem, which is a poem that is voiced by a dramatic character, then it's a lyric poem. So the history of lyric poetry is ancient Greeks actually labeled this genre of poetry, which was sung to the accompaniment of a lyre, which I drew a nice big blue arrow pointing at what a lyre looks like so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. It has a couple of strings on it, and they used it because they didn't have any way to write down the poetry, so they had to memorize it, and using the lyre helped them memorize it. So this is distinguished from the epic verse, which was chanted, and from plays, which were spoken. So by Roman times, not all lyrics needed to be sung. Today, of course, lyric refers to the words of a song, but that is also the title of the largest of the three genres of poetry. And this includes an elegy, an ode, and a sonnet. And we'll talk about those more in a minute. An elegy is a poem commemorating the death of an individual or mourning the passing of an era. So in class, we talked about the poem called Holy City. That was an elegy. So if you go back and look at your notes on that one after this video, then that is a perfect example in memoriam of the people that died in the Charleston shooting, as well as the loss of the era of safety in that town. An ode is a formal poem of praise honoring a person, event, or season. English odes typically have 10 lines per stanza and are written in iambic pentameter. The other thing about an ode is that it is typically exaggerated and almost funny. If you look it up, you'll see an ode to chocolate, just as an example about how much somebody loves chocolate. Or here you can see a comic of an ode to coffee, my black liquid gold. After my first taste, I was completely sold. It tastes yummy and warms my tummy, so long as it's gone before it gets cold. So it's sort of almost in a joking way, but it is honoring somebody or something that the writer particularly loves. Now we're going to talk about a sonnet. A sonnet is a lyric form of 14 lines in iambic pentameter, usually following the Italian or English model. Sonnets feature a volta or a turn, a change or twist in the subject. It often creates a witty or moving effect. This turn occurs at different points in the two sonnet forms. So first we're going to talk about an Italian sonnet or a Petrarchan sonnet, which is also named after its inventor Petrarch. It's composed of an octave, rhyming A-B-B-A, followed by a sestet, which is a rhyme combination of C-D-E. An octave represents a situation or a problem. The sestet comments on the situation or resolves it. The volta usually occurs between the octave and the sestet. Here's an example. So here's an example of a Petrarchan's poem. I'm not going to read it for you. You can pause the video and read it for yourself, but you'll see that the first 8 lines are an octet, followed by the traditional A-B-B-A rhyme scheme. Then the octet presents a problem or a question. If you pause this video for a second and go and read the poem and think about what the writer is trying to tell you in those first 8 lines, then you'll see that it's a problem or a question, and think about what kind of problem or question it is. And go ahead and answer the question that it will pop up here in just a second. Next, you'll see that the last 6 lines are called a sestet. It's followed by the C-D-E rhyme scheme in this case. Some other ones will follow the C-D, but this time it follows C-D-E. And the sestet revolves around a problem or a question. So once again, in a moment, you'll see a question asking about what the problem or the issue is in this particular poem. And I'd like you to take a moment and pause this video and think about that when you read this particular sonnet. And remember the volta, which is line 9, turns from the problem to the solution. So I want you to take note of that as well. Next, we're going to talk about an English sonnet, which is also a Shakespearean sonnet, named after Mr. William Shakespeare, or Bill Shakespeare, as some people call him. It's composed of 3 quatrains followed by a couplet, and these quatrains develop a central thought, and a couplet provides some type of conclusion. So the rhyme scheme is a 7-sound pattern: A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and then it ends with the rhyming couplet, which is G, G. You can see it right here on the slide next to William Shakespeare's beautiful picture. The rhyme scheme, or the volta, typically occurs before the final couplet, so it's usually the line right beforehand. And now we're going to look at an example where I'm going to break it down for you so it's a little more clear. This is one of Shakespeare's most famous sonnets. Go ahead and take a moment to read it and think about who he's addressing, who is the speaker, who is the audience, and what is he saying to them. You can pause the video. Okay, now that you've done that, see that there are brackets around the different quatrains. A quatrain is 4 lines, which compose a stanza. The last 2 lines are called a couplet, and you'll see that the rhyme scheme is annotated at the end of each line, and each line is numbered. This is a perfect example of a Shakespearean sonnet. It was written by William Shakespeare himself. This video is meant to be a resource for you, so you can go back and watch it when you are studying for your poetry quiz or doing your essays. So please feel free to reference this, and I thought I'd leave you with a little bit of a joke. So go ahead and read this, get a little chuckle, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.